Everybody, Horseman here, and today I'm going to be bringing to you another class overview. In this case, I'm going to be doing the Trickster, and this is going to be your close range combat type of character, and it's going to be very similar to how I did the overview on the Technomancer, and except I am level 7 and world tier 5, so that is highest capped out level for the demo, as well as highest capped out difficulty for the demo. It definitely does go much higher than that, but anyway, so what this is going to be all about, I'm going to go over the skills, the abilities. I'm going to demonstrate the skills and abilities that are afforded to us, show you how I augmented or how I did my gear to augment my abilities, and basically kill a mini boss in the process. So here we go. So I'm going to go straight to the class. So the class is going to be the first thing I discuss. We have 3 different trees. We have the Assassin, the Harbinger, and the Reaver. Chances are, based off of my playstyle, I think I'm really digging the Assassin and the bonuses that go with that based off of how I play. The Harbinger, I'll get into that, and it's probably going to be my least favorite. The Reaver does seem kind of cool, but I don't tend to put too much emphasis on the abilities as far as attacking, as I am going to be doing most of my damage with my weapons. Alright, so just like with the Technomancer, we did get 2 class skill points, and I decided to put it in close range weapon damage, aka my shotgun, as well as increasing my health, since I'm going to be up in everybody's faces at any given time. So that's kind of the whole point of this class. So survivability is going to be pretty important, but I don't think I'm going to put it above just dealing straight up damage. So because of the abilities that I'm going to be using. All right, so what makes the Assassin so special for me is, for each enemy in close range, your weapon damage is increased by 8%. This is going to be pretty huge, especially because the shotguns already do a good amount of damage. And then on top of that, with one of the abilities that I'll be discussing a little bit later called Twisted Shots, and the augments that go with it, this is going to help me just shred the bad guys. On top of that, a magazine size is increased by 50%. This is also going to be very important with how I plan on building out my character, because of Twisted Shots and some modifications that instead of 1 magazine, it extends to 2. So if my magazines are bigger, and then on top of that, my magazines, I can expend 2 of those magazines before that ability goes away, then that's just that much better. The Bounty Hunter increases your weapon damage against elites by 15%. It's going to be very beneficial, because my whole point of playing this character is going to be farming elites, captains, and other altereds for their loot. Increase weapon leech by 5%. This is going to help me with survivability, because I'm going to be all up in their faces. So I want to make sure that I'm going to survive my encounter. The Harbinger doesn't seem to have as many of these abilities or passives, which kind of surprised me. And they seem to be more focused on defensive or survivability. Every activation of deception skills grants you 20% shield, and the affected skills are below right there. Unfortunately, 2 of those skills I do not have any information on, because they don't let us have that type. We can't mouse over or look at them or anything like that. So for profit squared, every ammo you pick up heals you 5% of maximum health, which is going to be helpful because of the fact that a lot of ammo does drop as you go. The only other real big passive here is long odds. For each enemy in close range, your armor is increased by 15%. So when you're up in their faces, you're going to be tough. You're going to be hard to kill. And even as my build is as it is, I can have a good 7-8 people around me and still not die all that easily. If you look at my legendary weapon videos that I had recently posted, you can still see it. It takes a few seconds to kill them. I mean, if I'm not able to get out of that kind of mess with the abilities that are afforded to me, then, well, I probably deserve to be playing a different type of character. The Reaver, on the other hand, is going to be focusing on your anomaly abilities. So for each enemy in close range, your anomaly power is increased by 10%. Depending on your build, this is going to be greatly impacted with like certain bonuses to I want to say that like twisting shots is also affected by your anomaly power, but yeah, that's why I say that Assassin and Reaver is going to be a big toss-up for me. At the end of any damage skill, increase your armor piercing by 30% and resistance piercing by 25%, and then the effective abilities are below. So we have what looks like Temporal Blade, Twisted Shots, and this Whirlwind ability that I have not yet been able to see. Leap of Clincher, activating your movement skills increases your resistance piercing by 15%, which is again part of survivability. When your damage skill ends, increase your anomaly power by 50% for 10 seconds. So that is pretty cool, but hopefully by the time my anomaly power ends, everything's dead. At least that's the idea. All right, so that's the class trees. I'm not going to get too much into all of this here right now. I just really wanted to, like, the whole reason why you'd be going Assassin, Harbinger, Reaver is for these last few tier of passives. Everything else you can kind of play around, snake around a bit before you get there. Still don't know exactly what the max level is going to be come the full release of the game, so I don't know exactly how many points we're going to be able to mess around with in here. Hopefully we'll get that information soon. But then again, the game does release in literally 1 month. It's like April 1st. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mess with Temporal Blade, show you what that's all about in the first part of the quest that I'm going to do. It's a repeat quest. And just kind of give you a rundown as to what that ability is, how it and demonstrate its effectiveness, and then I'm going to swap it out for Twisted Rounds for when I take out the mini boss. All right, so Temporal Blade. The video here shows you exactly what you need to know. It paralyzes and slices enemies in front of you, dealing 226 and inflicting slow interrupts to all targets. What this doesn't show you is exactly what that range is, and I have yet to really figure out what that range is, but it is significant. I mean, from a distance range, you're looking at quite a ways away, and these guys are still being affected. But it's not showing you the cone, and it's not exactly 360 degrees, but it's pretty darn close. So keep that in mind. This is a very cool ability. It turns them to skeletons and then they blow up. This isn't going to work as a one-shot for your elites or your captains, but it will do a significant amount of damage, and especially if you have a bunch of minions around them and they blow up, they're going to do that damage to the other enemies as well. All right, Slow Trap. Create a space-time anomaly sphere that inflicts slow onto enemies and projectiles for 10 seconds. This is super, super, super helpful, especially when taking out captains or like other altered, because you'll trap them in there. You can see exactly where they're going to shoot. You can see the bullets coming out of their muzzles, and so the attacks are easily avoidable. And depending on what type of modifications you have on your armor, you can end up doing a crap ton more damage. And I'll go into detail about that here in a little bit. All right, the last ability that we have, oh no, not the last one. The Hunt the Prey here, we have one more. This is a nice teleport ability. As you can see, it puts you right behind the enemy, where it'll set you up for a nice little either melee attack, or if you need health back, or just straight up shoot them in the face with in the back of the head with a shotgun. So, whatever floats your boat. It's got a really cool, really quick cooldown. So you can use it fairly often. One thing I did forget to actually talk about was the Temporal Blade also serves as your interrupt. So anytime that you see a yellow bar filling up over the enemy's head, you can use this ability to interrupt that. And trust me, you're going to want to, especially if it involves a fire tornado. Those things suck. All right, so the last ability, this is the last one that we have access to, this 9, 13, 17, 22. We don't get a chance to actually see what they are. But this last one, Twisted Rounds, fills your current weapon magazine with anomaly-infused bullets that increase your firepower by 171%. I'm sorry, by 171. The skill lasts you until you reload or switch weapons, and that's where your modifications on your armor comes into play, and I'll show you why. So for my head, Strong Twist, while the skill is active, increases weapons firepower by an additional 15%. So I'm gonna do more damage with the Strong Twist on my twisted shots. So that already is a huge, awesome. The next one, Twisted Rounds, the skill is effective for 2 magazines as opposed to 1 before it triggers the cooldown. So that means I get to unload 2 magazines before I have to worry about the cooldown, which is why that 50% magazine increase is going to be so incredibly helpful. The Blue Blood received 10% weapon leech bonus while the skill is active. Is going to help with survivability, especially since you're going to be all up in everybody's space, and you're going to want to make sure you come out of that attack alive. For the other 2, these are going to directly impact my slow trap. Increases the sphere's range by 1 meter. And also anything within that sphere is going to be afflicted with weakness, so I'm going to do more damage to those enemies that are within that sphere, or anything that comes inside the sphere from the outside. So again, super huge, nice bonuses when it comes to being able to augment those abilities. And as later on, if you like these mods, you can dismantle them, take those mods and put them into something else that might have 2, just help you along, and you can just make yourself that much more powerful. And that really works, especially with our legendaries, where you can see I have 2 there. You know, if I like bombs ahead on this one, but I only like singularity on this one, then guess what? I can modify this to where it has bombs ahead and singularity. So that is super cool. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get into the actual demonstration of these abilities now by doing a reoccurring quest. So I will say, with that being said, if you do not want any spoilers whatsoever, despite the fact that this really isn't a spoiler, and I say isn't, I mean, the demo is only like the first couple of hours, and honestly, it's a free demo. You don't have to pre-order the game. Get in on it, try it out for yourself, see if this is something that you would like. If you get the demo on Steam, and then you got to purchase the game on Steam in order for progress to carry over. So don't get it on Epic and then don't get the demo on Epic and then buy the game on Steam, because progress will not carry over. So just something to think about. I'm sure that, not even sure, that will go for consoles as well, but it's free. Go check it out. Go check it out. But if you don't want any spoilers, go ahead, go away. Otherwise, stick around for the demonstration of the class. I will be fast forwarding through the dialogue here. You're not here to see that. You're here to see the class. So let's just go ahead and get this done. Stop talking. Go through this door and start tearing people apart.
Time I settle up with this type.
Beautimus. I left one. Okay. So that's how Temporal Blade is used. It is a very handy ability. I do like it. I love the fact that it one-shots those minions, and it did all throughout my my leveling up experience. It really started getting dicey when you started getting in contact with, like, say, elites and the captains. Then you'd really have to be careful. So especially if you had a gear that was under leveled. That was probably my biggest issue, was that taking on captains, especially with terrible gear, was rough with this class. I mean, just as an example, the Technomancer, I don't think I died really at all during my leveling up experience, but during the
should be hauled up somewhere in here.
like the Trickster leveling up, this mini boss in particular, I definitely died more often than I actually killed him. I mean, we're talking, I died like 7-8 times before I finally downed him one time. Come to find out, I just had to upgrade my shotgun because I just was not doing enough damage, and he would heal and then throw these fire tornadoes at me, and it was just so annoying. But anyway, I swapped out Temporal Blade with Twisting Shots, so I'm going to go ahead and showcase that right now. Let's go demonstrate it. I'm going to skip past this cinematic and just get right into the fight. And dead. Peekaboo. So yeah, that's it. As you can see, I mean, very, very helpful. You saw when I hit twisted shots that the front of my shotgun was all glowy and stuff, and I was able to get through an entire reload and use 2 magazines worth of that increased power. If you didn't get a chance to see what it looked like when it was in use, that's what it looks like. So anytime you see it, that's what it is. Very cool. So that is it for this video. I hope that you liked it. If you did, please stay tuned for more. My next class that I'm going to be showcasing is going to be the Pyromancer, and then I'm going to go off to the Demolisher or Demolitionist. I forgot what it was called. I think it's the Demolisher. And eventually as we go, because I am still farming for legendaries. Not so because I just think that it's going to give me that much of an edge when the game goes live, but it just because it does have modifiers that I want to steal, and they look cool, and it's just because I want to do it. That's why. So I'm not going to finish this up, but if you did like this video, please throw it a thumbs up and subscribe for more as I continue with my legendary farm and as I continue to do class overviews. All right, so until next time, Horseman out.